One of the good things is I was nestled between two great speakers, so I have the privilege of allowing them to do a lot of my presentation for me. So Margaret covered a good chunk of it, and Cindy is going to come up in a little bit. She's going to cover another good chunk of it. So, hey, good and bad news. The good news is you have to listen to me. The bad news is I might get y'all out a little bit early for lunch. So when we talk about our program for household water well, the program itself is administered under the USDA, our rural development. So if you take a moment and bear with me, I want to talk about our programs that we have within rural development. And the reason is you never know who may need something within this audience. No doubt many of you wear multiple hats. So you may find something or hear something that sparks your interest for another project or another organization that you help. One of the interesting things about rural development is one of the few, if not the only, program in the government that can build up a city or town from the ground up. Whether it's through our rural housing service, which handles single-family, multifamily housing, it handles schools, daycares, nursing homes through their community facilities program, whether it's our rural business that will have your grocery stores or your malls or your shopping stores, or maybe it's our rural utilities that handles your electric, your telecom, or like our water and environmental programs, your water systems. So within rural development, we have so many different facets of financing that we can pretty much touch whatever need that you have. Now, the Household Water Well program is administered through our water and environmental programs. And basically that program is designed to improve the acquisition, the purchase, the construction, or improvement of drinking water, whether it's through single sources like private wells, or more commonly through water systems. So also we handle sewer collection, transmission, treatment, and disposal, as well as solid waste, stormwater collection and treatment, and disposal as well. So our population limit are cities and towns with a population of under 10,000 or less. We are focused in rural areas and tribal areas as well as colonias. Our eligible borrowers include state and local government entities as well as private nonprofits and federally recognized tribes. Now, when you look at our portfolio, we had $2.9 billion in direct loan and grants and guarantees available last year. And out of that, we were able to invest nearly $3 billion in over 1,000 projects. So this definitely is a huge, huge program that we were able to administer. And in FY 2018, we had over $25 million worth of guaranteed funds that we worked with private lenders in order to accomplish some of these projects. And we don't just work solely by ourselves. We do cooperate with EPA. We have a memorandum of agreement with EPA for promoting sustainable rural water and wastewater systems. And through that, the 4 pillars or the 4 actions under that MOA is for sustainability of rural and small systems, water system partnerships, water sector workshop development, and a compliance for small rural public water and wastewater systems. So we utilize our connection with EPA to make sure that our standards are consistent amongst the agencies. So we want to make sure that what we're requiring for water systems is the same thing, at least meets or exceeds what EPA is requiring as well. Now to talk about our Household Water Well Grant Program, which is why everyone came today, right? Well, our Household Water Well Grant Program, as Margaret mentioned, it assists qualified nonprofits in establishing a lending program to homeowners to assist with well repairs and or replacements. And it increases access to clean, reliable water for households in eligible areas. So the funds that they use could be used to construct, refurbish, or service household systems. So they already have to have a well on their property. So this isn't I'm about to buy a house. I found out I needed a well. Can y'all help me? This is somebody who has a problem with the well, an existing problem with the well, and they're trying to either get it repaired and or replaced. Now, the way the program works is it starts a revolving loan fund. So we grant out the funds to a nonprofit organization, and they in turn loan them to the well owner at a 1%, as Margaret mentioned, a 1% interest rate. So it's not something that they're trying to get rich and beat them over the head and try to charge them exorbitant interest rates, but they're trying to charge them an interest rate so that they can reinvest those funds and continue to establish that revolving program. Now, the Household Water Well program is one of the most searched programs on USDA.gov, especially this year because since it is an annual grant program, our FY19 cycle is currently open. It closes next Monday. So for those of you who file for our Household Water Well grant program, you got till Monday to get everything in. So I know we have a couple in here, so please get them in. So that's my little plug. But one of the interesting things about this program is typically, and you may have experienced it, is people don't know where to get help. A lot of times they have an issue and they don't know where to get help for that issue. So the computer can be a great tool, and it also could be a detrimental tool sometimes because they'll just type in something and they'll type in household water wells or wells, and 9 times out of 10, that ends up with me. So I get a number of phone calls from people who say, that they have some type of well issue and they need some assistance. Unfortunately, I can't help them directly, but what I try to do is steer them to some of our grantees who may service their areas, and they may be able to provide them with some assistance. Now, as we mentioned, it's not designed for those homeowners, but they will work with those grant recipients in order to get the application. They'll help them to determine if they need to be, how the well needs to be repaired or replaced. So who can apply to the USDA for funding? I know this is really small type, and we're not going to go through all this. We're not going to read each bullet. But basically, they have to be a nonprofit. They have to have the expertise and experience in promoting the safe, productive use of individually household wells. So kind of like what Margaret alluded to in her presentation, where they did 3 pilot projects, and those pilot projects helped to establish that they have ability to administer that type of program. And that's what we look for. Do you have that ability? While some people may have good intentions of wanting to do this, we need to have somebody who has experience in doing it, has the legal authority to do it, and they have sufficient expertise in doing it. So also, they can't be delinquent on any federal debts. You must be current on all federal debts in order to apply for the program. So those are all things that we look for in our applicants. Now, the loan terms. Currently, the loan term is $11,000 per well. It's 20-year maximum term, and the interest rate is 1%. And we have that 10% matching that Margaret, they go and do their fundraising with the golf tournament and the silent auction, which is kind of cool. But we do require that. And the reason for requiring that is to make sure that that organization has some skin in the game. We want to make sure that they are fully invested in the program, that they want to see the success of the program as well. Now, historically, our grant levels of our funding level has been right around $1 million. And we can see this past year in 2019, our funding level went up to $2.3 million. So that's, for us, a significant jump. And typically, a lot of people may say, oh, well, I looked at, if you looked at the beginning of our slides, you had billions of dollars, and this is only $1 million program. So I've fought very hard for this program within USDA, and one of the things is I truly believe in the program. because even though it's $1 million, that's $1 million that can help a lot of people. And it was funny, I was in a meeting and somebody said, well, you don't have success stories related to this program. And my first thought was, if I don't have success stories, you should go talk to Miss Jackson in Georgia, who was so bad and so bad off without her well until Golden Triangle put a well system in there. She had 3 bad wells, and they finally put one in that stuck. If we don't have success stories, go talk to Mr. Gordon and Mrs. Gordon in North Carolina, who have to travel upwards of 5 miles to get water each and every day. But now they don't have to do that because they have a well. If we don't have success stories, go talk to Water Well Trust, go talk to Communities Unlimited, go talk to some of the RCAC, some of our grantees who work tirelessly in order for us to make sure that we get water and clean, safe drinking water to those in rural America who need it. So, no doubt, we have success stories. So I'm very passionate about this program because this program gives us the opportunity to have an immediate impact on people's lives. A lot of times when we talk about some of our bigger projects within water and environmental programs, our water systems, our water treatment plants, and things of that nature, yes, the dollar amount is large, but the impact takes time. Think about how long it takes to run water lines through a city and build up a plant. You're talking about years. But in that time, we could have affected those people positively by putting wells in there. So we see an immediate impact on them. And one of the things is, it's not just us that notices it. That's a blank slide. Don't know what happened there. But we're going to talk about it. So there we go. Recently, as you may know, the Farm Bill was passed in December of 2018. And in there, it talked about the household water well systems. And they had a few changes in the household water well systems grant program. The biggest one that I noticed off the top is number 4. They renamed it the Rural Decentralized Water Systems Grant. So in future years, if you're thinking of applying, you may not, if you go to grants.gov, you may not see household water well systems. You may see decentralized water system grant. And the reason in that is, since the inception of this program, we have only been able to do water wells. Well, due to the Farm Bill, the recent passing of the Farm Bill, now they're allowing us to do septic systems. Because if you think about it, a lot of times these very residents who have problems with their wells have problems with what? Their septic systems. So if they have E. coli or anything leaking into the well, a lot of times it's because they have a problem with their septic system and it's draining and leaching in. So if you fix the well and you don't fix the septic system, you're putting a Band-Aid on it. So now we're able to actually address both of those issues under this one program, which is a great, great opportunity for us. As well, we're increasing the grant amount, or the loan amount, to $15,000 instead of $11,000. And then we're also lowering the income eligibility from 100% of the median non-metropolitan household income to 60%. And what this allows us to do is to reach those who truly need the assistance. If you're looking at 60% of the non-metropolitan MHI, that's truly those who really, really need the assistance, who need to know how they can get help. So we look forward to implementing those changes. Now, even though those provisions were approved in the Farm Bill, there's still work that has to be done behind the scenes in order for us to enact it. So while our grant cycle is currently open for FY 2019, those changes will not apply to 2019. We're looking at trying to get those changes implemented in our FY 2020 grant program. So we're working hard trying to do all the legal stuff that we have to do to change our regulations, change our notices, and update our program in order to accept all of those changes in the Farm Bill. Now, one of the great things we have is a huge list of grantees who have worked with us over the past years. Our current list of grantees are Golden Triangle, Living Better Tomorrow, Self-Help Enterprises, Southeast RCAP, Seven Rivers RC&D, WSOS, Waterwell Trust. We've also worked with RCAC for a number of years, and they have a huge portfolio with our household water well programs. So I wanted to leave you with a story. I always like to tell stories. My kids tell me I tell too many stories, but I always have to tell one. And it's in relation to what we do. When I first started working in the government, I started on April the 1st. It was April Fool's Day, so the joke was on me. But by the end of the month, I went out to a training in Boise, and we visited a Indian reservation, the Shoshone-Paiute Indian Reservation. And they were literally 90 miles in the middle of nowhere. They actually had a sign that said, "This is the last gas station for 45 miles." So we go there, and at that time I was working with our community facilities program. So we did hospitals, we did daycares, fire stations, police stations, fire trucks, those type of things. So we visited, a couple of the residents there, and this old lady, we went to her house, and she was showing us, all of her things in there, and, she had a quilt that her great-grandmother had made and pictures from her kids and all this wonderful stuff. And she said, "You know what? I really appreciate the fire truck that you gave us." And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm 20-some years old, and in my mind, I'm trying to picture this 80-year-old lady climbing a fire truck. And I'm like, why is she so happy about this fire truck? So afterward, we had a presentation during lunch, and I saw the lady. So I worked myself over to her, and I said, "I have to ask you." I said, "Why are you so happy about this fire truck?" And she said, "Well, we didn't have any fire trucks before." She said, "So if I had a small kitchen fire, it would be a total loss for me." She said, "I would lose everything. And it wasn't just a building. I would lose my great-grandmother's quilt. I would lose all my kids' pictures. I would lose my entire heritage from a kitchen fire." She said, "So now that we have a fire truck, it's just a kitchen fire." So it gave her peace of mind. And I thought about it, and I said, wow, what an amazing, amazing story. What a great job that we do. And the same can be said, even though we don't do fire trucks, we do something just as important. We give people quality drinking water. We give them heritage. Now they don't have to leave their family land that they've been on for centuries and generations because the water is poisoned. Now they can live there. They can pass those stories on to their kids about, "Hey, when I was your age, I climbed that tree. I used to go and do this on this land." They don't have to leave their family. They don't have to leave their heritage. So the work that you do is so important, whether it's well drilling, whether it's administering these grants, whether it's just getting the information out there or well testing. Everything we do is important to the lives of those who we affect. So I thank you for all the hard work that you do in helping all of our rural Americans to get safe and accessible drinking water. So now, I'm opening it up for questions. You got some?
We do have questions, and I do want to point out that he listed the grantees, and would you speak to, they're only working in some areas. I know the story you told me about the Golden Triangle, about they only have a few staff, and so they can only work in limited areas, right?
Yes. So part of the grant application when they submit to us is they have to give us an idea of the area that they want to service. So for instance, with Golden Triangle, they service Southeast Georgia. And I had the opportunity to go and do a site visit with them last year. And they have a staff of less than 5 people. And they have a 8-county area. And if you've ever been to South Georgia, you know South Georgia, the only thing is down there is agriculture. So they had a huge area to cover with 5 people. And this wasn't their sole program that they administered. They were also the RC&D. They did like 5 other projects and programs, but they were so adamant about the household water well, and it stretched them very thin. So they couldn't cover the entire state of Georgia like they would love to, but they could only focus in those few counties. So it really speaks a lot to the determination they have to have positive impact in their communities. But a lot of these, especially if you notice some of the smaller grantees, and if they have specific areas, like Seven Rivers works in Southwest Georgia, and they're very similar. They only had 2 in their whole staff that was administering the program. So some of these smaller grantees really are focused on certain areas because of the size of their staff.
Great. Can grant funds be used to install treatment systems, for example, an RO system to remove arsenic from the newly refurbished well?
Yes, they can be used for that. So it's to repair and or replace. We have a lot of drillers. They know the neighborhood, they know the area, they know the land, and a lot of times they're some neighbors to the people who need assistance, and they try to find the most cost-effective way to help them. So whether it's just repairing or putting in a filtration system or whatever it may be, as opposed to drilling a whole new well and the impact that it will cause there.
So I know the answer to this, but could USDA grant funding be used for PFAS testing? I lost it here. It changed. By a county, if they wanted to go test wells.
Currently, our funds cannot be used under the household water well, but we do have under our EES, our environmental and engineering services, there are some funding pots that they can administer for testing. So we do have some funding pots out there that are eligible for that, but not under the household water well.
Okay, so local lending institutions are not familiar with the program. How do locals navigate this?
By getting the word out, one of the things we've been trying to do is let people know about the program. My information is located in your books, but if anyone wants to talk to me about it, if they want to know about this program, just send them my way. I'm always a good marketer for the program. But this one of the things, like I said, a lot of people kind of just dismissingly look at the program since it's only $1 million. But one of the things in the Farm Bill is there was an appropriation to increase our funding level from $5 million up to $20 million a year. So people are taking notice of this program, and this program is growing.
Is there, so the next question, and I think this was asked before you showed the slide with the list of grantees, but that's also on your website?
Yes, that's also on our website, www.rd.usda.gov.
Yeah.
So you can find the list of grantees in the areas that they service under that website.
And so slide 6 says it's only for repairs, meaning they had to have a well, is the thing you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And earlier Margaret showed, adding wells where they were hauling water where there was no well previously. So the question is, they would not qualify for a new well?
If they currently do not have a well, they would not qualify for our program.
Right.
However, with Water Well Trust and a lot of other programs, they have their own program and their own guidelines that they may use. They may not use our funding, but they have another pot of funding that they may go into. Like she mentioned, we're starting a revolving fund, so they may go into it with their personal portion of their fund in order to finance those projects, but they just can't use USDA funds for those.
So the next question is, are you able to expend all of your funds annually?
Yes. Yes. Yes, 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 yes.
So I guess the follow-up to that would be, so how much of a request do you get annually? Like the people who apply for your grants, would that total 10 million, 20 million, 5 million? You said you had 2.3 last year.
We have, actually this year. So,
this year.
So for FY 2019, we have 2.3. Last year, we funded all of our grant requests. So everyone who applied that was eligible and met our criteria got fully funded last year. So.
Yeah, no, that's great. Do individual loan applicants have to have a minimum credit score?
That determination will be made by our grantees. That because we, as a federal organization, we don't work directly with the loan applicant, but the grantees work with them, so they would have to make that determination of what their criteria to meet funding would be.
And speaking of that, I know USDA has another program where very low-income folks can apply for money directly from USDA. And I know we didn't talk about that today, but if you want more information on that, I'm sure you have some of the information.
That's the 504
Right.
Rural Housing Program.
And that's for anything related to your house. Can a household get a loan for both a septic and well repair, or does it have to be one or the other? I'm assuming that's something you're figuring out.
Yeah, that's what we're working on now, since now we can do septics. We're working with our lawyers to basically interpret what Congress said. So we want to make sure we have the correct interpretation, but we don't have an answer right now. We're trying to find a way to make sure that we can. Our philosophy is to find a way to do it and not a way not to do it. So we're trying to work to see if we can do both.
Okay, who decides what has to happen in terms of repairs and how much it should cost?
They will work with the driller or whoever they're getting an estimate for the well. So they will help because they have the expertise. So they will be able to determine whether you need just repairs, what type of repairs, or do you need a whole new well drilled.
And the next question you already answered. You said you hope to have it ready for the 2020 application process. So
Correct.
Right now there's no septics, but it will be covered hopefully under 2020, and those rules are still being established. Mm-hmm. Do grantees receive a fixed amount of funds which they allot to different clients, or are they acting as brokers for homeowners or organizations who need water well assistance, who each get their own grant or loan?
Basically, they're working as they receive a fixed amount. They receive a certain dollar amount that they have been granted, and out of that dollar amount, then they go out and market the program and let people know that, hey, we have funding if you need a well repaired or replaced. So they're not working as necessarily brokers, but they actually receive that money, and they're actually, an institution, for lack of a better term, to get those funds out and loan those funds to the actual well owners.
And the last question I'm going to go to is the next to last one there. Are there any special accommodations or provisions for non-federally recognized tribes or on tribal lands or tribal lands?
We have not had any applications from federally recognized tribes or tribal lands. So at this current time, there are no special provisions or accommodations for them. They are eligible to apply as a federally recognized tribe, but when they're non-federally recognized, we have not had to address that issue. We will go with the advice of our general counsel at that time, because we will have to receive an opinion from them.
All right. Derek, thank you very much.
You're welcome.